Discipline without punishment sounds impossible, right? I'm here to tell you that it's not. Today, we're exploring 5 powerful strategies that can transform your approach to discipline and your relationship with your child. When most people hear the word discipline, they usually associate it with punishment. However, the word actually comes from the Latin words discipulos and disciplina, which mean student and to teach. When we talk about disciplining our children, this is what we really want. To teach them. Lots of parents think that making children suffer by some form of punishment is the best way to teach them a lesson, when in fact, research has shown it to be one of the worst. I'll be making a separate video all about this, but just know that even though punishment may seem like the way to teach your child right from wrong, it actually does more harm than good. So how exactly do we discipline without punishing our kids? The first way is through positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is all about catching your child in those good moments and highlighting them. It's easy to fall into the trap of only noticing when our kids misbehave, but when we shift our focus to the positive, amazing things can happen. For example, instead of always saying, "Don't run in the house," try praising them when they're walking calmly. "Wow, I love how you're using your walking feet inside." You'll be surprised how much more often you'll see that kind of behavior. This strategy has another bonus to it because it helps you to become more aware and mindful, especially when it comes to your child's behavior. Lots of times the positive stuff goes unnoticed because it's not grabbing our attention like our toddler climbing up on the counter and pouring all of the cereal boxes on the floor. But when we really pay attention, we'll start to notice more of the good stuff that our kids do. And contrary to what some believe, children are actually born with an innate desire to behave and be good and stay connected to their caregivers. We just tend to focus on the not so good. So it seems like we're getting more of it. And sometimes you are. If you're always focusing on the negative behaviors, that's what you'll see more of. After all, your child is getting your attention from them, which, as we just talked about, is a biological need. So try giving more attention to the behaviors that you want to see. I'm willing to bet that you'll see more of them. Timeouts were introduced around the 1960s as an alternative to spanking and other forms of physical punishment. And while they are definitely a better alternative to physical punishment, they also have their downfalls. Advances in attachment research and neuroscience have taught us more recently that when a young child is having a hard time, what they need most is connection, not isolation. Because of how brain development unfolds, young children do not have the ability to self-regulate. This needs to be taught through consistent, predictable co-regulation, which is basically the idea of borrowing the calm of another regulated person. For this reason, a time in is way more beneficial for disciplining a child in a way that's aligned with their brain development. A time in means staying with your child and helping them work through their big feelings rather than forcing them to be isolated and alone with them. This might look like sitting with them in a calming corner, taking deep breaths together, or simply holding them if that's what they need. I have a video that goes into way more detail about this, so be sure to check that out in the description box when you're done with this one. But just know that by doing this, you're teaching your child that it's okay to have big feelings and you're there to support them through it. Plus, you're modeling that emotional regulation that we talked about, which is a skill that they'll use for life. Our kids are always watching us. They learn so much more from what we do than what we say. If we want our kids to speak kindly, we need to speak kindly. If we want them to manage their anger well, we need to manage our own anger well. This could be a tough pill to swallow, especially when we see our kids doing something we don't like that we know they picked up from us. But this is also great because we have the power to change it. This does not mean being perfect. None of us are. But it does mean being mindful of our own behavior and owning up to our mistakes. So this may sound like, "Mommy shouldn't have yelled. I was feeling really frustrated, but there are better ways to express that. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better next time." To help with this, remember this phrase: be what you want to see. The next way to discipline without punishment is to set clear expectations and hold boundaries. Kids thrive when they know what's expected of them. Having clear, consistent boundaries actually helps them to feel safe and secure. This might look like having a visual schedule for your daily routine or clearly stating rules before an activity. So for example, when we go to the park, you need to stay where I can see you. If you run off, we'll have to leave. And here's the key. Once you set a boundary, you need to hold it consistently. Yes, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when your child screams and cries about it. I know, it's easier said than done, right? But trust me, it pays off in the long run. And remember, kids are allowed to be upset about you holding boundaries. They may behave in ways that are not okay, like hitting you or throwing something, but them being sad or crying about it is okay. And it's expected. Hold that boundary. The next strategy is a super important one for helping your child learn from their mistakes, and that is by using natural and logical consequences. It's important to note that these are not punishments. I have a whole video that explains the difference on these, how to use them properly, and how they differ from punishments. So be sure to check that out in the description box right after this. But first, if you're looking for more support in parenting your little ones, you want to know how to best support their development, or you want to know exactly how to implement positive parenting strategies like these, then make sure you click the link to get on the wait list for my brand new membership, the Life with Littles Lounge. It is exclusively for parents of toddlers and preschoolers. We will have things like live Q&A sessions, group coaching, monthly workshops with guest experts, and tons of resources for both you and your littles. Click the link in the description to get on the wait list so you can be the first to know when it opens. Remember, the goal of discipline isn't to make our kids suffer for their mistakes. It's to teach them, to guide them, to help them learn how to navigate this big world of ours. These strategies take practice and patience for both you and your child, but I promise you the payoff is worth it. You're not just avoiding misbehavior in the moment. You are building a strong, positive relationship with your child and giving them skills they'll use for life. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more tips to help you love your life with littles. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.